What's up, fam? Welcome back to another episode of EXTOL WE, episode 3. This process of going forward into this new season has been so much harder than I had ever expected. As I went back and watched the video that I posted live here, that was a private video from 3.5 years ago, comfort and encouragement that I posited in the Lord that there would be some difficulties in shifting into this new season. And as a result, reached out to comfort and to encourage you all. In that, I said, I prayed through it and I was like, I think it's probably gonna be a little bit awkward. There's going to be a regression in quality, in my comfort, in being able to share on camera. I think that's going to be a bit off-putting. What I didn't anticipate, I couldn't have anticipated, I'm discovering it here in the moment, is this next 3.5-year journey, getting it started in EXTOL WE, has been so incredibly difficult. As a result of that difficulty, I actually was delaying getting started by 4 weeks and now behind. I'm recording 2 videos again each week to get caught up with all of the videos that I've posted over the last 4 weeks. But I had such a difficult time just jumping back into the chair to record these videos because everything is all new. I've had to let go of all of the success of the past, everything that I've done up to this part. I've had to let it go, and I'm on a new channel and looking at no videos, no subscribers, a completely blank slate and starting over. It is absolute punch to the gut. As I was editing my videos from last week, I remembered that I also was creating videos for my real estate company. And so from Friday, February 14th, 2020 to Thursday, August 17th, 2023, I made a total of 853 videos, which is an average of 4.7 a week. You can round that up and say an average of 5 videos a week for 3.5 years. If you don't know anything about video, it's absolutely insane. A huge celebration of God's grace in my life and the ability to move forward in faith and faithfulness to accomplish vision that God has given you to do. Out of that then, the celebration is that Jesus is inviting us into an experience with Him to learn about His processes of discipleship with His disciples as He walked the earth during His earthly ministry. And in comfort and encouragement, I said, looking at it and praying through, God, what is it that we're doing together? Give me more vision, give me insight, teach my heart to walk in your ways and to be faithful in what it is that you're calling me to. I said, God is pulling us forward in an experience together of walking out the dynamics of Jesus' discipleship with His earthly disciples. In that, one of the things that I forgot to share in last week's video, as I went to post my video on Sunday, August 20th, 2023 from Redding, California. I jumped on my YouTube channel and looked at my analytics to see how many people had watched the video in loving remembrance that I posted on my parents' 49th wedding anniversary. Over that 3-day period from Thursday, August 17th to Sunday, August 20th, 2023, I wanted to see how many people saw that video before I posted my video, The Power of Love, on Sunday, August 20th, 2023, and it was 11 people. As I engaged that number, obviously the revelation is one of experiencing Jesus's heart in having gone to the grave and then popped back out of the grave in His resurrected body and was greeted by 11 disciples. If you're familiar with the story of Jesus and His disciples leading into His betrayal, death, and resurrection, that Judas betrayed Jesus, one of the 12, and that when he realized that he had betrayed Jesus and that there was no way that he could save Jesus and get the chief priests and leaders and teachers of the law to hand Jesus back over to them in safety, he was so overcome with grief and guilt that he went out and he hung himself. So when Jesus popped back out of the grave 3 days after everybody was like, whoa, called it quits, He was greeted by 11 disciples. Then as they moved forward from that place, then those 11 disciples then gathered the rest of the disciples in the community. They went to the upper room, and when the Holy Spirit came, there was 120 disciples then who were there to receive the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. Correlate that to the experiences that we've had throughout Extraordinary Life with Elijah, and now merging into EXTOL WE, finishing the whole process out with 120 subscribers, and that 11 people got to see my very first and last video on Thursday, August 17th, 2023, to then Sunday, August 20th, 2023. So incredibly beautiful. But as I've progressed into these experiences, I'm discovering these difficulties that just embrace in the moment. The celebration is that God has built the maturity, completeness, and wholeness into me in this process of perseverance over the last 3.5 years, that I'm very well equipped then to move forward into this next adversity. In comfort and encouragement, I say sometimes the greatest gains are made through the greatest seasons of pains. And that the lesson that God was teaching me then, back in 2020, is that when Jesus says to pick up our cross daily and to die, he's not just saying, the emphasis is not on die, bad, dread, horror. Those things are there. There's a shame to the process of picking up your cross and carrying it to your place of execution. Yes. But Jesus' emphasis is on saying, die to everything previous so that you can then enter into new resurrection power. So in this season, the 853 videos that I produced, 5 per week, all the success, all the stories, all the things that God has done, and all the glories, that I'm laying all of that down and starting over in a new context that helps to safeguard my heart before the Father, to seek first His kingdom and His righteousness alone. Now, through that, one of the things that I could not have seen, again, other than just walking through this experience with God, is the additional insights that it's given me in the dynamics of reproductive respiration. I cannot lead you through all of the insights that are a result of that teaching. I'll link a playlist here. You can go watch all of that. I've taught lots of different videos over the last 3.5 years on those dynamics. Suffice it to say here in this moment, though, central to the paradigm of reproductive respiration, which is a leadership and community development paradigm, central to that is a graph that is built around an isosceles triangle. Through the middle of the isosceles triangle and down, there's another inverted isosceles triangle that divides the whole shape into 4 equal parts, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, this whole isosceles triangle represents all of the good works that a specific person is to accomplish. However, as you minister to people in your life and you empower them, you equip them to do good works, this middle line right here is the ceiling of achievement that a leader can accomplish by themselves, pulling in their own gifts and talents. Now, there's, again, so much within this graph that there is a truck that exists here on the bottom, and this is a graph that moves upwards along this line, we'll call A, B for this time point, such that you're pulling in, that this is a hydraulic arm that exists along this edge here. And as you pull in, that this bottom portion to this middle point here, all of the dynamics that are below this point are dynamics of pull. You're pulling in your giftings, you're pulling in your talents, you're pulling in the harness, you're doing that work yourself. But then after this ceiling, that all of the dynamics above this point then shift to dynamics of push. You have to push out into those that you're equipping. You have to push out into your community. You have to empower other people to do works that are greater than yourself, that they're ascending above your growth ceiling and all of the accomplishments that you've accomplished in your ministry. Kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it? Friends, I am currently in this point right here. It's a transition point. Now, this point then, it's transformation. Transformation happens first. Transformation is shift in person and identity, becoming and maturing. And transformation happens first, and then you go across that line, and it is a transition in season. The quickest way to understand that is caterpillars shifting into butterflies. A caterpillar cannot shift into his new season. He can't transition into a new season where he's occupying a new space, flying and breaking the forces of gravity. He can't transition without first undergoing a transformation, a metamorphosis. But as a caterpillar merges into a cocoon and all of the latent capacity that's within its DNA, it's locked within his person, as he goes into this tomb of death, dies, is liquefied, comes back out of that tomb in a resurrected, transformed state. Now his transformation leads into a transition into a new season where then now he can fly. He can break the forces of gravity and he can exist within his new environment and season. I am in this transition period. Over the last 3.5 years, God has been building in my life. He's been maturing me. He's been completing me. He's been growing me through the ministry of perseverance in my life as I've considered the trials that I've faced as pure joy and it's grown my faith. It's brought me into maturity, completeness, and wholeness. Now, the thing about this, though, is that when leaders shift across that line, this is called the transition point. As they shift across that line, they have to go weightless. You can't simultaneously pull and push at the same time to get through this point. That you have to go weightless and have to have sufficient momentum built to that point such that you've pulled intentionally to create momentum, acceleration, velocity so that you can just go weightless for just a little bit to go across that gap. And as soon as you get through that transition point such that we shift into then a push season, bam, you slam that thing with everything that you have, and that this last portion of this bottom part of the graph in a leader's life is accomplished by those who are in relationship with them, that their community helps to then accomplish this final portion that's up above their accomplishment ceiling, and that's to their followers' credit. Those are the greater works. They do everything that their leader has done below them. They gift that to their followers as a gift of inheritance, and they do all of those work, but this final portion here, on this bottom portion of the full works of a leader's life is granted to them as a gift through their followers. It's so incredibly beautiful. So fam, I could not anticipate how difficult this transition period is, going weightless and starting over, but the learning is so incredibly poignant. So many leaders, so many people in movements, in businesses, in families, in governments, in whatever context you find yourself in, what hamstrings their future success is their past success. That they look at the 853 videos, 5 video average per week for a 3.5 year period, and they just hang their hat on it and say, wow, isn't that amazing? Look what I did. And they just live that story out over and over and over and over the rest of life. Hey, look, this is the guy that did Extraordinary Life with Elijah. He made 5 videos average per week. It's incredible. Listen to what God did in his life, but that's just where they park it. They never merge on. And the reason is, because what I'm finding out is it is so incredibly hard to pick up your cross, to die, and to allow all of that has existed backwards to fall away and to start over with something new. Family, my encouragement then, out of honoring my brother Zachary, my physical brother here on earth, is that from the day I was born, my brother was always trying to break through into my life, that he was trying to get through the glass into the nursery area. He was saying, open it, because he just wanted to get through the barriers to get to me and to be with me. He was so excited to be with me. And over the last 3.5 years, I've been reaching out for you all, asking God, open it. My camera's too far away. I can't tap on the lens anymore. But that I've been tapping on the screen of your device, reaching out for you, asking God to impart grace to you through my life so that you can know him more. And as my brother then was in a place of spiritual maturity and in the marketplace that was surpassing where I was, that he was in a place where he was walking and running in ministry with the Lord in the marketplace, and that every day that he had a blue futon chair that he would sit in and pray and prophesy with God in his office. And that as I started my space with God November 7th, 2017 at 10:33 in the evening in the crawl space of my house. Again, can't tell all the story. I'll link that up above. You can find out about it on Extraordinary Life with Elijah. But as God called me to the crawl space under my house to pray in the dark, to pray into the foundations of the church and reality and everything that God was building his kingdom on, and I was starting out there in my blue futon chair, my brother had already been paving the way by pouring resources into his blue futon chair through prayer and prophesying and listening with the Father. And he'd been doing that faithfully for years. And that resource then came to my life to help propel me to greater success moving forward. Now, obviously, that represents the example of our brother Jesus, who took the fullness of heaven, the inheritance that he received from the Father in his faithfulness before him, and that he gave that then to us, the fallen brothers, the brothers and sisters that had walked away from the family's house and squandered our inheritance in the Father's image and likeness in us, that we came back and that Jesus took the inheritance that he had received from the Father and said, Father, give it to them. And then he said, it gives the Father great pleasure to give you the kingdom, little lambs. It's so beautiful then to consider that then as we move forward into this new era of extol we, that I have been laboring so hard in the Lord, out in the fields, through the heat of the day, to build momentum and resources in the kingdom, to then impart to all of you, to include you within everything that God has given to me. It's so beautiful then to see that it is moving outward from and multiplying in a context of family, that extol we is a hyphenated form of extraordinary life with Elijah. And that the W-E, rather than being with Elijah, has become with everyone. We're moving into a context then where everything that I've done in faithfulness before the Lord by myself, pulling in the harness with Jesus to accomplish every good work that he's given me to do in my personal walk with him, is now shifting into a season where it's extol we, extraordinary life with everyone. It's something new. Everything that has happened in the past, we have to let it go. The power is being killed up to road 16, road 17, merging forward. Power has always stayed on. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go watch this video. Family, we're on another road of faith together. That from the beginning, that the vision has been to serve to please our Father's heart through the exercise of our gifts to impart grace to one another so that we can know the Father more. The beauty of Jesus and his ways of saying, pick up your cross and die daily, is to safeguard the efficaciousness of our focus before God, to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. That is all. That all these things that are added to us as well as a result of being in the Father's house with him. So, Elijah, you, my children, I am with you always, and everything that I have is yours. And so, family, picking up your cross daily and dying to everything of the past, letting it all fall away, and just moving forward into newness, to pioneer into new places, not next spaces, but new places with the Father, is that he safeguards the priority of seeking first his kingdom and his righteousness, and that is all. It's so easy to allow the 853 videos, the success, the place of stability, the comforts of whatever it is that God has released to us, that the blessings of being in the Father's house can very quickly overshadow our value for him and his presence. As we move forward together, it'll be fun to see how God refines and defines what this new era of Extol We is to look like. I would love to be able to chat with you about that. If you want to reach out, type stuff in the comments below. If you're here in my hometown of Bozeman, want to reach out to me, get coffee, talk about that, Imagineer together with me, I would so love that. If you subscribe to what we are doing, then hit the button, hit it and then get it. Hit the bell as well so you get notified with the new content. And if you loved this video, you didn't just like it, then hit the thumbs down button. I pray blessings on our lives together. I love you guys lots, and I will see you in the next video.